Hi Gaurav, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Can you tell us something about yourself?
Rakesh, I started my career 4 years back as a QA. Where I used to, my responsibility was to understand the business requirement specification and high level of scenarios and convert them into the automation scripts and test cases. And now I'm working as an SDET, so where my responsibilities are quite similar, but on top of it, we have like I have few more responsibility that apart from the web. So I am managing the API testing and executing the performance with the help of JMeter tool. And apart from that, we are having a framework which is in place built using the REST assured Java, Cucumber for BDD approach. And we have some set of tools that we are using for our daily testing like activities, which is Maven for build management. And we are having a GitLab for like version management, version repository management, and for running our CI/CD pipelines. And apart from that, we are using Java as a like whole team. We are using Java, and we are having like I worked on Selenium with Selenium TestNG Cucumber for BDD approach. I worked with that too. So yeah, so that's a high level about me.
Good. So, which is the uh, reporting reporting mechanism? What is the reporting mechanism that you are using?
So we are having like a simple TestNG report or like simple Cucumber reports we are using. So we have not configured like uh, in earlier project we were having the LEO report and extend report, but now we are having only TestNG report and Cucumber reports. So that's also work for us for fine, because we can monitor our logs from the tool itself, and we can get the status on over an email, uh, what what has failed in a pipeline. So we have not added the extra or a third party reporting tool.
hmm Okay. Now, let's say you have 10 test cases which are running via automation,
Hmm.
and out of those 10 cases, the top five executed completely, they were passed. Sixth one failed. So, what will happen to the seventh to 10th test case? Will those four test cases get executed? Will those four test cases get skipped? What would happen to those four?
We are having 10 test cases, out of which seven got filled, right?
So initially when you run the automation suite, so 1 to 6th test case got passed, right?
Hmm.
Now 7, 8, 9, 10 test case. What would happen to those test cases if sixth test case gets failed? So let's say if 1 to 5 gets passed, sixth gets failed, then what will happen to seven from 7 to 10 test case? Will those test cases get executed? Will those test cases get skipped? What would happen to them?
Yeah, they will get executed. Like if we have used like some kind of hard assertion, then it will not that particular test will get skipped, and the remaining test one will get executed.
So what should happen as per the best practices? Will you um, will you allow them to get executed or will you allow them to get skipped? Because let's say if 7 to 10 test cases are dependent on 1 to 6 test case, right? 1 to 5
Yeah.
got executed, got
Hmm.
passed, but sixth one got failed. So now even if I execute 7 to 10, they would get failed because sixth one has got failed. So
Yeah, if it is dependent, then it should fill.
it should fail, right? So this is the
Yeah.
as per the best practices and standards. Now
Yes. Yes.
consider a scenario if they are not dependent on sixth one, then what should
Hmm.
happen from 7 to 10?
Yeah, they should get executed, because if they are not dependent on each other,
Mm,
then we
mm,
should get like only the failure one should get be reported in
mm.
a reporting. Other should get passed if they are
Okay,
not dependent on each other.
okay. So how will you handle these kind of things in your framework?
So this kind of thing can be handled by using like parallel testing. We can do parallel testing of our test cases. Like I have 10 test cases. Then I can execute like 10 parallel test cases or even five test cases in parallel. So by using that, we can do that.
But parallel testing means you are telling that you will be executing test cases in various browsers, right? But
Yes,
let's
yes.
say if you have to execute in a single browser only, it's a
Hmm.
normal browser testing, right? Automation is running. How will you handle this thing in the framework that if 7 to 10 test, if sixth one is failing, then 7 to 10 should not get executed. If sixth one is getting passed, then 7 to 10 should get executed. So how will you handle such kind of things in the framework?
So, first of all, we should not use depends on our test should not be dependent. And the other one, we can use it to use of soft assertion. We
Hmm.
can use we can use of soft assertion so that the text execution will not get stopped when we get any exception in between.
Hmm. Okay. Which one is good to use as per the practice and standards? Soft asset or hard asset?
uh, like both can be used on different situations.
Hmm.
Like if we are looking like suppose I have a application where I have to first log in, then I have to test the home page. Then in this case hard assertion would be better, because if we are not able to log in into our application, then how we can test our home page,
Hmm.
right? So first of all, authentication should happen. So in this case, I guess uh, the hard assertion would work fine, and the soft assertion in this case, if the pages are not dependent with each other, like home page is different. There are some other kind of page like payment functionality I have to test separately. Then in this case, soft assertion would work, because home page activity might not dependent on the payment page activity. So payment page I can test parallelly, and home page I can test parallelly.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So do you report to the QA manager or do you report to delivery manager? So how is your reporting structure?
So I report to QA manager,
Okay, and that QA manager is reporting to delivery manager,
senior manager. Yeah,
senior manager.
senior.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So that's how it is happening. Now let's say if QA manager is on leave, right?
Yes.
And you have got an escalation that some particular user story is not working fine at the client end. So
Hmm.
there is an email from the senior manager to whom QA manager was reporting, right? So senior manager has an email and you are there, a part of the email, your team is there, but QA manager is not there. So how will you handle this situation, right? So QA lead is also there. Okay,
Yeah,
so
QA lead
so
is also
consider QA lead is also absent, right? Now you are there.
there.
There is one person in your team who is 1 year having more experience 1 year than you, and there is one more person who is
Hmm.
having less than 1 or 2 years experience than you, right? So how will you handle this situation? QA lead, QA manager, both are on leave.
Yeah, so if there is some critical issue from the client side which got reported. So first of all, I will convey this to my manager, to my QA manager or QA lead, so that
So
they could be aware.
yeah, so they are on leave. So
But still I will call them, and like I will generally like let them know this situation, like this critical issue has been reported, this set of action which I think could perform on this. So at least they should get aware like what's happening on their behind. So if they agree, like okay, you can proceed with your actions, then I will talk to my developers and ask and propose some solution, what I feel. If they agree to that, they can talk to their dev lead and dev manager. So uh, by like syncing with them, so we can get this issue resolved.
Mhm. Okay.
because we have dev team also in parallel, so they
Mm.
can also look into that issue if we get if we assign if we tell them like the proposed with the proposed
Mm.
solution.
So that's the point. Like you will coordinate, you will collaborate with the dev team. So you will do
Yes,
cross-functional collaboration, right?
yes.
Cross-functional collaboration is done. Okay. Hmm. You are having BDD framework, right? So what is the folder structure? What is the hierarchy of the automation framework? Like many folder structure will be there, then utilities folder will be there, src/test. So how is the folder structure?
Yeah, so the folder structure of our project is like we are using Maven. So as Maven build the skeleton for us, like which have the src main Java, src test Java. So under src main Java, we used to place our step definition. What are the step definition that we all have? Then we used to place there, and we have some kind of utility that we used in our test, like pojos. If we are using any kind of pojos in APIs, then we used to place there. And in our test Java, we used to have a feature file. So whatever the feature file we got, we used to place there the feature file. What are the test resources, test data, we used to place in our src test Java. And under resources, if we have any other kind of utility file or some kind of properties file and all, we used to place there. So that's how we manage our BDD framework.
Hmm.
And in test output, we have all reporting like or Cucumber reports and TestNG reports that we have.
Now I'm sharing my screen.
Mm.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay. Now this is a scenario that you have to automate.
Okay.
Hmm. Now there are three drop downs. Okay, one is
Mm,
country drop down, one is
mm,
state drop down, and one is city drop down with a select tag.
mm, mm.
Mhm. The state drop down appears in DOM once the country is selected, and the city drop down appears in DOM once the state is selected. So once the city drop down appears, you have to print out the values in the city drop down, which start with big case sensitive, uppercase A or lowercase a. So how will you handle this? How will you do this automation?
Okay, so we have three drop down: country, state, and city. So we selected the state drop down appear in the DOM. The city drop down appear in the DOM once its state is selected. Uh, so one city drop down appears. Okay, so first we can like we have to use the select class, right, for
Mm,
automating these drop down. Because the drop downs are made using select text, so we can use select class. And we can use we have three methods is there. We can have like is displayed, is selected, is enabled, I guess. So
mm,
we can use these which return a value boolean. So we can check in a if condition, like if country drop down is enabled or displayed, and if it is true, then we come inside the if folder and we can select this country drop down. We can select the country, like suppose I selected the country as India.
mm,
And then like I already asserted, like I already placed a check for state drop down also, which is like if state drop down element is enabled,
mm,
right? So if it is enabled, then it will return me true until I will put like I would say explicit wait I will put
mm,
if like expected condition until this element is visible, or visible or is clickable. So I will place a wait, explicit wait like this. So it will wait until the state drop down will be clickable. Now after that, after selecting from the state drop down, I will place the same check for the city drop down. I will put the wait condition for city drop down also, and I will I will select a city. So in select we have a method. Generally three methods we have, like select by value, select by index, or select by ID. So I can use select by value, where which starts with A or A. Okay, so mm, for that I'll only need to select the city which starts from A, right? Capital A or small a.
Yes, yes. You have to select the city in the
Hmm.
drop down which start with uppercase A or lowercase a. Now, sometimes it
Okay.
can be
Yeah,
uppercase,
yeah, okay.
sometimes it can be lowercase.
Okay. So what can I do here is I can store the select by I can if it is if city is made of the li element, then I can store all the city into a list,
Mm,
and I will iterate one by one, and I will check if string starts with capital A or
mm,
a small a. So string has one method which is like starts with, right? So
mhm.
I will use that. If it is starts with a, capital A or small a, then I will enter into the loop and uh, click on that particular city, and I will iterate until I will get until the all a's like uppercase and small case are not selected.
Right, right.
So that will be my approach.
Yeah, yeah. So you will have to handle this scenario via loop conditions and conditional statements. So you'll have to
Yeah.
use that. Okay. Now moving to next question. You have CI/CD
Hmm.
and yeah, your code is getting scheduled and it is getting deployed every night at, let's say, 11:30 p.m. IST.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, anyone can trigger from CI/CD, right? Let's say if
Yes.
or some on some particular day when you are on leave, so business analyst might also trigger this code, trigger this pipeline, right? Or pipeline triggering is also not required. It is already scheduled. Pipeline is scheduled
Yes.
to run every day, so no one
Yes.
is required. So ultimately, now there is a config.properties file wherein you would have saved your username password, right? Which will be used in the automation while executing the automation. Maybe you are using that particular file or user to to navigate all the screens, to log in and all those things, right? Now in CI/CD, when business analyst is using this particular automation, right? Then your username password should not come, right? This thing is local to you. Config.properties in which you have entered your credentials. This is local to you, right? Now business analyst also wants to run the automation. So how will you handle this situation? Will you use config.properties or what approach will you take?
Okay. So uh, your voice got break in between.
Okay,
So
let me
as
repeat.
far as
Yeah,
I
let me
understand, like
repeat the
you are
question.
asking like how business analyst will
Yeah,
trigger the pipeline.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
should I repeat my question?
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
The last part, you
Yeah, yeah.
please.
Okay. Now, let's say you have used config.properties in which you are saving your username,
Hmm.
password, credentials to run the automation. Okay. Now, your automation framework is integrated with Jenkins. Okay. In Jenkins also
Hmm.
pipeline is already scheduled, which is supposed to run every day at 11:30 p.m. Okay. Now,
Okay.
now you cannot share your credentials, right? let's say it's an investment banking
Yes,
or
correct.
it's a high
Hmm.
security kind of thing. So you cannot share your credentials with business analyst. So from where will he use from where will he get his credentials in order to trigger the automation?
Uh, So we generally don't like check in our like personal credential in config properties. So we have generic set of credential that we use, and it can be used by anyone.
Hmm,
Whoever all the stakeholders can use that. So rather than personal giving the personal credential, we have some generic credentials which has like restricted amount of permission uh, which can be used to trigger these pipeline.
correct, correct.
Yeah, Rakesh.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. Now, am I audible?
No, no issue, no issues.
Okay, fine.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a perfect answer. We should have generic credentials for our automation framework and should not use your local
Your
username.
voice is breaking again, Rakesh.
Now is it audible? Hello. Now is it audible?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a perfect answer. We should not use
Ye-
credentials, our local credentials. It would be good to have the dummy credentials or generic credentials. Okay. Now you are supposed to write a Java program to remove duplicate values from a static array. Can you share your screen and you can start writing this program? I've given you screen sharing rights.
Okay. Sure, sure. Let me open my screen. Can I use ID?
Whichever you are comfortable with.
Okay, sure.
Can you please share your screen?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Click on button, share screen.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So, what was the
Yeah,
program?
I have copied, I put the question in the chat box. You need to write a Java program to remove the duplicate values from the array, any array that you can take.
Okay. So, uh, let me write directly. So, suppose I have an integer array. So I'm initializing 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 6. Is it fine?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
this is fine. So
okay.
6 is repeated, so that should be the
Yes.
one in which you will have to remove.
Yeah, sure. So what we can do is we have array which contain duplicates. So we can take uh, uh, s- set. We can take set which is of type, I would say, integer. Now let me take hash set. Now what I can do is I can pass this directly. I cannot pass, I guess. No worries. Then I can take a for loop. I is equal to 0, I less than arr dot length I plus plus. Now I will use, I will set.add ARR of I can use, and after coming out of from loop, and I can print this. Let me run this too. Yeah, so 6 is coming only one time.
Great. So what is the approach that you have taken? You have used heads.
So yeah, I used a collection set in which I am taking the has set, and I am iterating over the array, and I am adding the element of an array to the set of integers. And set has a property of removing the duplicate element. So I am printing the set directly. So the all duplicates have been removed.
Is it possible to go with the approach of hash map?
Hash map, we need to we required key value pair. So
Hmm.
hash map is not a right approach here,
Mhm.
because we have a static array. We have values, but we don't have any keys. So it's not a good approach.
Okay. So let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. Is it possible to implement the solution for this problem using hash map? Okay. So that is the question. Okay. What do you know about Docker?
So Docker is a, I would say, a
Mhm.
containerization, it is a tool
Mhm.
which help us to do the containerization. So the Docker is a solution, I would say, uh, which help the developers or a QA or a tester to package all the libraries, all the required dependencies in a single image file, and that can be shared to the some other person, so that he or she not get any issue, his suppose earlier what used to happen is, like, if my dev are using some version of Chrome, I am using different version of Chrome, and I'm using different version of Java, and they are using different version of Java. So whatever the code they are giving to us, that code will not get executed in my Q environment, or client should not able to run that code in their environment. So what the Docker provide the solution to package all the required Java version, Java file, Chrome version all together, and share that image to the person, and he can directly run the command docker run or docker pull and the image name, so that the image will get pulled into the Docker machine, and he or she can run the code whatever they want.
Okay, great.
So
Now,
it's basically a containerization. Yeah.
correct. Now, in your resume, you have mentioned you have conducted performance testing using the JMeter tool and identified
Yes.
bottlenecks in the system. So, what kind of issues you have found using performance testing?
Yeah, so performance testing, issues could be there was one issue where the rate limit was applied by the developer. So if we are trying to send multiple requests, so that we used to get some error status code, the rate, because the on the server side there was a rate limit. So which is not correct, right? Because they like on putting some thousand of loads, and the server started giving the error. So because too many request error, so it started giving, right? So that has been identified and reported to the developer, because there are so many clients which are accessing that application, and requests may go in 1,000 or 10,000, right? So if we are applying the rate limit in some very few thousand or 2,000 requests, then it's not a right approach. So requested developers to increase their request limit, the rate limiter. So that one of the bottleneck which identified during the performance test.
Okay. So
And there
let's
was and there was so
yeah, please go
yeah
ahead.
and
Please
so
go ahead.
yeah. So in performance test, there is some other kind of issues are there because the suddenly whenever we are executing our test cases, so the server started giving internal server errors, these kind of errors we generally don't get when we used to test during without performance, right? Because if we do load testing, then we used to get how much load our server can handle. So these kind of bottlenecks we identified, like how many resources, how many clients, how many users our server can handle. So these kind of performance under performance, we actually did the load testing. So we identified the load and shared the report with our stakeholders with proper graphs and like listener report and summary and what's the throughput of our server. So all these details we have shared.
Okay, great. Cool. Okay. Now, when you are testing using JMeter, so which are the various assertions that you are using?
The view result tree is assertion. Okay, so in assertion, yeah, so assertion we have used the pattern matching actually. The in pattern matching assertion we have used actually. I guess I'm not forgetting the name, but we have used the pattern matching where we used to identify some suppose if our response contains some digit along with some text, so we can write like for backward slash d and some numbers and these kind of pattern matching we can do. So this
Mhm.
kind of assertion we have put.
Okay, then
And
you will,
response also.
yes, please go ahead.
and and on the status code also we have put like what's the status code we are getting on assertion, if it is 200 or some other assertion. So these kind of assertion we have placed.
Okay, great. Now, you could have also used a response code assertion, whether you are getting 200
Yes,
or
response
not.
code.
Then
Yes,
bean
correct.
shell assertion is there. Regular
Bean
expression
shell.
is also there. So all these kind of
So regular
assertions,
expression.
yeah, all these kind
Yeah,
of,
regular expression. Yeah, regular expression
right,
and state
yeah,
response code assertion we have used.
right. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Gaurav, for coming on our channel. And I'm almost done with the interview. Your interview really went very well. I think you have got a good grip, good knowledge, good command on the subjects, and you should definitely try getting, you know, giving real-time interviews now.
Yeah, sure, Rakesh. It boosts my confidence too. So I will definitely try to give real-time interviews as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best for your career.
Yeah. So any feedback for me,
Uh,
Rakesh, in the end?
no, I think it was good. You were able to answer Java related questions, Selenium related questions. Manual I didn't cover because I was able to see a lot of automation work done throughout these 4 years. So
Mm.
people will hire you as an estate, as an automation engineer, right? That's a good part. Yeah. So once you get selected, please feel free to share your success story on this channel. Right?
Sure, Rakesh. I will.
Okay. Okay then, Gaurav. And all the best for your career and take care.
Yeah, same to you, Rakesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.